So this is Raul Ramirez of the Catch Wrestling Alliance, where we help you elevate your grappling, and together we keep real wrestling alive. Thank you very much for listening or watching, whether it's on our YouTube channel or our Twitch, or even just listening to the audio wherever podcasts are available. Thank you very much. So let's go and give you some updates. So right now, with regards to our UCLA class, actually we have a bunch of things developing with regards to UCLA. We're on summer now, so we got like a month where we have no classes, um, but we'll be back in the end of September, beginning of October. But we'll be offering more grappling classes. So that includes like catch wrestling, but also even the Chinese traditional wrestling. So that's like their jacket wrestling, where it's a lot of the takedowns that are actually really similar to catch wrestling. Um, but anyway, I have a background in that too. So they're having me teach that. So hopefully it goes well. And then also, if anybody in the Los Angeles area, or if you're visiting LA, then feel free to come train with us at Fight Science MMA. So we're still there. You don't have to join the gym. You can just drop in and stuff. So that's always available. And of course, we always have our online CWA Academy on our website, catchwrestlingalliance.com. You can check that out. If you don't want to become a member there, also, you can just do one-off video courses that we have. We just released the Pressure Passing Volume 2 video series. So feel free to check that out. It's stuff, like I use all the time at whatever gym I train, whatever jiu-jitsu gym I train at. So all this stuff really works very well. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get to the drama. It's actually kind of funny. It's not uh, too much of an attacking thing, but I found these comments in the Wrestlers Only chat room on Facebook, and I thought it was actually pretty funny. So yeah, one of the things, I believe the original comment is serious, but then people commented back about they're making jokes. So I want to show a couple. Let's go and see if let's go ahead and see. Okay. Oh no, wait. Let me see. Uh, there we go. So this is a comment here. Hopefully you can still hear me. Okay, yeah, you can still hear me. But anyway, this is from Wrestlers Only, and someone commented, "Freestyle wrestling sucks to watch. They need to limit leg laces to one score. Sick of seeing matches end so quickly because one wrestler pulled off multiple leg laces in a row. Folkstyle or bust." So, um, that's all. That's actually kind of a legitimate thing. So this is kind of the problem. So you see all kinds of, or at least what I've come across a lot is, you might, I've gone to different places to introduce catch wrestling to people who are like amateur wrestlers, whether it be folk style or freestyle. And quite often, say if it's a younger person with hopes to become part of their country's national team and maybe go to the Olympics or something, they're going to be interested in catch wrestling, but they're not going to want to do it because their goal is to compete in the Olympics, or some other big amateur wrestling tournament. But what we've seen is that, like, over the years, over the decades, like it, even though these styles came from catch wrestling, like they're the parent style, the father of these styles, folk style and freestyle, came from catch wrestling. It's been so many decades since that happened that they're very, very different. And so you get these weird, bizarre rules, like in folk style, where it's like if you can grab the person, whether it be by grabbing their legs, like the leg lace, or grabbing around their waist, like a gut wrench, and you can roll them over, I think, like 4 times, then you've won. So you're not pinning them. You're not even really pausing to even try to pin them. You're just rolling them over, and you can win. So let's go ahead and put up this comment one more time. We'll kind of read it, and then we'll get to the rebuttal comment, which I think is pretty funny. Okay. Freestyle wrestling sucks to watch. They need to limit leg laces to one score. Sick of seeing matches end so quickly because one wrestler pulled off multiple leg laces in a row. Folkstyle or bust. All right, okay, so let's get to this rebuttal. All right, folk style wrestling sucks to watch. They need to limit leg takedowns to one score. Sick of seeing matches end so quickly because one wrestler pulled off multiple leg takedowns in a row. And so, like, it's actually pretty funny. Uh, like the sarcasm or whatever. But in a way, like I guess from my perspective, it's actually still kind of sad because they're both so far from the original version. Like so they're basically so far from uh catch wrestling that it's like um uh it's just kind of sad to see for someone coming from the catch wrestling background. Um so actually, let's go and get to some of your comments here because they're already coming in. So yeah, go ahead and keep them coming. So all right, so Taquero Man 91. Did you watch the Catch Wrestling British Championship that happened on August 5th? Yes. So I only saw some of the videos that are emerging, but yeah, that was the thing. You see like more action basically than you'll find in a lot of um, or like more continuous action, and this is probably the difference where since catch wrestling it's more continuous than folk style or freestyle. So for those of you who are not in the United States, we call our wrestling style that we do in our schools here and our universities is called folk style, or sometimes you'll hear it referred to as scholastic or whatever, high school wrestling. All these are under that umbrella of folk style wrestling. Only done in the United States, but it's really effective, or like you see it. Like a lot of the Americans who do very well in MMA, a lot of them will have a folk style wrestling background because and so the differences are a little bit different, but I think it's more beneficial to someone who wants to do MMA to do, if you're going to do an amateur style, folk style would probably be the better one than freestyle. But anyway, so it's going to get so anyway, but when you get back to catch wrestling, so going back to Taquero Man's comment, you're going to see more continuous wrestling in a catch wrestling match because there are no points. Refs don't stop you. They don't stand you up. There's none of the where you have to go down to referee's position and to see if someone can get up. There's no if you're being ridden, right? Someone's like hooked their legs in and you can't get out. It's all on you. They're not gonna stand you up, right? So in a way, that is more say of a chess match or more of a puzzle because it's continuous and you got to see how the person can get out or if they just get submitted or pinned. So it becomes more interesting in that way. All right, next comment. Brick. Ragdolling someone else is kind of impressive though. Yes, but it's still not say like submitting them or pinning them. But it's true, like when like I do think it's kind of nice where so you'll see some of the Americans who are really good at getting a takedown. So the Americans who do freestyle wrestling, if they get a takedown and then they can instantly like wrap the legs up and go for a leg lace. That's really great, or it looks really cool at least. All right. Um, let me see. Brick. The next comment. Folk style taking and holding them down. Freestyle, you have to move the person and ragdoll them. And catch wrestling, you take everything dangerous and make them call uncle instead of pin. Yes. So in catch wrestling, there's both the pin and the submission. But yeah, it's like uh, definitely what like it's still it's more, at least in my opinion, it's definitely more interesting to watch catch wrestling than these other styles because of just like more and more rules. Like and they add more rules to what even to the actually let me move my cat. So the NCAA is adding all these different rules and point changes and stuff to different techniques or taking away techniques. And so like I wish I had the image here, but my good friend on the East Coast. So if you're on the East Coast, you'd want to train with John Strickland out there with American Hook Wrestling. He's been doing a lot of research and finding a lot of great images of early folk style wrestling, so early collegiate wrestling matches when it was their rules allowed a lot more catch wrestling holds, so a lot more so basically a lot closer to catch wrestling style wrestling. And like you see we should I think maybe I'll share it on our social media where you'll see a crooked head scissors being put on. And and actually I shared maybe probably a couple months ago from the University of California's wrestling book, even from the 1950s, showing a double wrist lock and all that. So you definitely see a lot more interesting holds and different ways of wrestling that are more exciting, at least to me. Luchador 1764. I have no idea how anyone can stomach the back exposure rule of freestyle. Yeah, man. Well, I think Luchador is making a great point. Because it could even be from if you have like a folk style background. And since folk style, I heard it, one of the wrestlers that used to train here, he said that he's too roly poly for freestyle, because in freestyle you have to like stay flat, because if you get that back exposure, you're gonna be done real quick. And and then like how we mentioned earlier about rolling over, it's like you're not even uh, you're not even close to being pinned, but since you're being turned, then you're losing fast. So so it doesn't really show like that much control, like over the person. You're not turning the leg lace into a submission hold or anything like that. But actually, by the way, our Pressure Pass Volume 2 is actually based on leg laces and how to turn them into submission holds, or how to pass someone's guard to pin them, or to do all kinds of leg locks and stuff. So I kind of, so I appreciate the leg lace, but there's a lot missing there. So try to add like a lot of the follow through for people who might come from a freestyle background. So that's there on our website. But yeah, so sometimes it's difficult to watch. And yeah, no, I won't. With it, you hear so many comments from, say, like even coaches. Like one of my catch wrestling coaches was able to basically just gets bored, even though he's got people into the Olympics for freestyle, and once he doesn't necessarily stick around for that. Stick around for the other matches, because it's not that interesting. But anyway, if you like it, and there's a lot of great wrestlers and stuff, but this channel is all about catch wrestling, so definitely catch wrestling is going to be like our main love, right? All right, let's get to the next question. Taquero Man, I was really happy. I visited the Snake Pit in Wigan. Great instruction, great environment. Thanks for the recommendation. Interesting idea that you can pin yourself or falling on your back. Yeah, you can totally pin yourself. Like say, like even if you put someone in a double wrist lock and you try to roll, like you fall to your back to try to roll them over you, and if their balance is great, they base out and you're stuck on your back. And you haven't submitted them, then you can be pinning yourself. Okay, Flame Zombie. I come from other combat sports, so non-submission wrestling doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Yeah, Flame Zombie. I'm in a bladed stance. I get points because theoretically I could kick you if I wanted to. Yeah. They say like point sparring stuff. You get all these um, different rules going on. And Flame Zombie, are you the one who does like the traditional stuff, and you're able to get like, I think if it was you, someone commented on one of the memes that we shared, where it's like I showed this big buff Shiba Inu dog, and it said like they're the freestyle wrestler, and they're about to get leg locked by like this weak looking teenage Doge looking dog. So someone, I think might have been you, said that they have like a traditional background, and they're able to submit a lot of wrestlers just by using the toe holds and stuff like that. So um, it's just thinking out of the box, and I think you'll get people like thinking, I get in the box, right? So if they're doing freestyle or folk style, and if their dream is to go to the Olympics, then they'll do whatever rules you have to. And there's actually like seeing this still happening today actually just shows in real terms like how catch wrestling really faded in popularity or almost went extinct because of that, where it's like someone wants to represent their country, they want to compete in the Olympics, and they go along with whatever rule changes occur. So that's unfortunate for catch wrestling. I also feel kind of the same way about pro wrestling too, since so long ago, a lot of the matches just started were became predetermined, and then like they never looked back, right? Because it was all about selling tickets and getting people to these events. Even though the competitors didn't necessarily have to know wrestling to to quote unquote wrestle. So so coming from the love of catch wrestling background, and like these things make me sad. Right? So even though I can appreciate all these different styles, it's like catch wrestling is still the main love, right? Okay, so keep making your comments. Let's get to the next one. Taquero Man, do you catch wrestling, or does catch wrestling use a more conceptual or technique approach, contrast to freestyle or folk style? I think it kind of depends on the coach, but the main concepts are there. Just ultimately the main concept is not being on your back, right? So not being shoulders down, and then a lot of things go from there. Like you'll have main wrestling holds that can lead to pins. So you'll have like the double wrist lock, which is a versatile hold that can give you control over the person. And so it's not necessarily seen as like a submission, like a lot of like how it's viewed in jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. So a lot of these, say even the toe hold, can be used to control the person. You give them some pain at the ankle, and then they'll move for you, definitely. So a lot of these, what are considered submission holds nowadays, were just considered like wrestling holds back in the day. But painful nonetheless, right? But yeah, that's the whole thing: controlling the person, getting them to move how you need them to. That was kind of like the foundational concepts, right? And so once you learn these concepts and these principles, then you can, be more fluid in your wrestling, and get all these crazy, get into these crazy positions, or these crazy pins or submissions and stuff that you're not necessarily going to be teaching, but when you teach the concepts well enough, then your students can pull these things off. Flame Zombie. Yes, good memory. I wouldn't have remembered that. Yeah. Tell us more about it. Oh yeah, you have the next comment too. In some of the historical wrestling, the rules are all over the place. They'll call it wrestling, but show kicks occasionally. Yes, I saw that even in like very very old versions of catch wrestling, they'll allow some like kicks to the legs and stuff like that, but not necessarily. Not like, it's not straight up MMA or anything where they have like punches and stuff. But I think you can still kind of see some of these kinds of kicks in wrestling, where it's like, if you pick up one leg, you can kind of kick out the other one to trip them. It's not a full on like roundhouse kick, I guess, but it's like like in Chinese kickboxing, they call these kicks like hook kicks, or like uh, instep. So either you can kind of hook your leg around their ankle, or your ankle around their ankle, and like just sweep that leg up. So it's not like a full on, like roundhouse kickboxing thing. But yeah, there's still some of the kicks, some leg stuff or leg trips, I guess. Flame Zombie. It'd be cool to have you take a look at Fabian von Auswald or Nicolas Peter, right? I don't know how to I don't know. They both have treaties from the 1400s and 1600s. Oh man, sure. I'd love to see it. Actually, let me show this up. There we go. I found out how to put your comments on the screen. Yes, if anybody has these books, I'd love to see them nearby. So I'm in Los Angeles, and we have one of our museums called the Getty Museum, and there is like uh, a room where they show some of these old manuals of fighting and stuff, but you can't really like look through them because like they're the original copies, so they just have like them on display with one like open to one page, so all you can see is just like one page of it. So I wish we could see more. So yeah, I'd love to see more. All right, Taquero Man. The whole pinning yourself concept, it creates good habits. It's a bad habit to fall on your back for guillotines or arm bars. Stay standing is a great concept. All right. Yeah, you can stay standing or learning what's called like the we call mat wrestling, so all the ground stuff in in catch wrestling or even regular amateur wrestling. It's called mat wrestling. So all the ground like counter moves and stuff are really really cool. Where you like say if you don't have to stand up if you don't want, and then you end up on top. Right? Funny question. Let's see. Did you watch Barbenheimer? Or I haven't seen any of them actually. the so Yeah, I heard they're long. So, I don't know if I want to watch. Yeah, will you upload your videos off? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So all of the podcast stuff will be available through whatever. It's just I think it's been a couple of weeks since I did one. So um, yeah. So this airs live right on our Twitch and our actually on our X now is like formerly called Twitter, and then our YouTube channel. But then right after I put the audio up on that on like whatever you know podcast like platform, so that goes out to all the rest. Let's see this. Okay, so Flame Zombie. Most of the transcriptions from the Getty are are Wittgenauer. I hope I pronounced that right. Yeah, so definitely the the Getty's a cool place. I'm sure there's probably some way to ask where like if you're able to see more of the books, because they'll have a few out on display and they look really fascinating. And it was funny that I just happened to go the other day, and um, at least the manual that was out on display just showed like no matter what they do, or at least that's the impression I got from all the drawings. Like no matter what they do, just like stab them in the face, kind of like that was like the end result of like all the techniques that they showed. Like, but yeah, I think all the old stuff is really really fascinating. Yeah, and so it makes sense that like I guess some of them are or the transcriptions are from Getty because I guess he was really into collecting all these old like really cool artwork and books and stuff. So yeah, that's all there to view. But yeah, I'll look into you know like seeing if we can get more, seeing access to more. All right, Wiki plus. Oh, let me see. I'm gonna put this on. Wiki plus Lichtenauer, one of the first German sword masters. You can look up the wrestlers on there too. Oh, awesome. So if anybody watching that are watching our live stream, you can see the text there if you want to look that up. All that stuff is really cool. Oh, that's very much German longsword. Hit him in the head. If he blocks, try to hit him in the head. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Um, yeah, that's at least how it appeared in the books, and maybe I'll share that on our social media too, so you can see some of the. Because I did take a few pictures of the book, but yeah, it just seemed like stab him in the face, stab him. Yeah. All right. So, yeah, I know a lot of people appreciate um, folk style and freestyle, or I think maybe the and this is the weird thing where it's like they think that someone who does freestyle and folk style, like these are real wrestlers and whatnot. So um while it's true is they're doing actual wrestling, right? um it's just not catch wrestling. And I think catch wrestling would provide the better overall result if you're doing, like, say, even like no-gi jiu-jitsu or even MMA and stuff. And that's why it's like, if you have a style that, like freestyle and folk style, that like has so many rules, short time periods. A lot of times it was even shorter than MMA rounds and stuff. So um, it it can it's not like it's completely devoid of value or whatever. But if you have a more well-rounded style like catch wrestling, you should get a better result in, say, like MMA, no gi, all that stuff, even gi, whatever. Let's go ahead and get back to the. Let's see if I can get back to the images here. Okay, so let's go back to the comments here. Let's see. So, let's see. Yeah, we'll do the other one. So, freestyle wrestling sucks to watch. They need to limit leg laces to one score. Sick of seeing matches end so quickly because one wrestler pulled off multiple leg laces in a roll. Folk style or bust. And then folk style wrestling sucks to watch. They need to limit leg takedowns to one score. Sick of seeing matches end so quickly because one wrestler pulled off multiple leg takedowns in a row. So um, they are they're all messing around, but like there's like a bit of truth to that. So that's ultimately my point, where it's like, yeah, it's funny to see them like fight amongst themselves, like those who love folk style more or those who love freestyle more. But um it's they're still, like we say, maybe the watered down versions, or the versions, or we say amateur. So that was like the whole idea where like amateurs really wanted to focus on a lot of the wrestling fundamentals. um and then say back, like, and then you could think of like the pro version, not like what we think of as pro wrestling today, but the pro version being the ones that know even more, including like a lot of the submission holds and stuff, a lot of the neck cranks are more dangerous ways of controlling people. That was the original like difference. All right, Taquero Man. Do you do any swim or aquatic exercise related to fitness for catch wrestling? Um, you can do really whatever you enjoy, whatever you'll do regularly. But yeah, it's good to do any kind of cardio exercise, and also if you want to do any weightlifting or any strength and conditioning stuff, all of that, whatever you will do, right? Whatever you enjoy doing, then that all will help. Next one. Okay, so have any catch wrestlers competed in ADCC or a major grappling promotion? You have some people doing like different, yeah, like different ones like IBJJF, ADCC. Some people doing what Fight to Win, which is like I guess, kind of professional grappling. All right, so yeah, you have more and more people doing all these different things. Flame Zombie. Yeah, I know the collegiate wrestlers in my club are great on their feet, but can't do much once they get on the ground. Yeah, actually, that's like that kind of makes me think of, um, like you'll have like some jujitsu places where they try to say that they combine like wrestling and jujitsu, and they make their own version of wrestle jitsu, but it's either all like really mostly jujitsu or maybe some takedowns and stuff, and really there's no bridge. Or like say once you get to the ground, then it turns into jujitsu. Um, so you get a lot of people who, since they have this thing that's like compartmentalized in a way, and there's not like the most like natural connection between them, or like there's not a natural fluidity to the approach. Like in say like in catch wrestling, you get a takedown and then you follow up from this kind of top down approach. Then you get a bunch of people where um, they won't know much, like, or they might get confused, right? If they get taken down, or if they take someone else down, and it's like the match is continuing, or yep, you'll see that. I've seen that a lot too, and yeah. So that's kind of my gripe, where it's like, yeah, if only catch wrestling was more well known. Okay, so Flame Zombie continues here. Um, they'll get a takedown and then get double wrist locked or triangle coil locked or whatever. Yeah, totally. So and now that's the other thing. So since there are no submission holds, and even there's not even anything close to that where um, like how I said, like back in the 1950s, you'll see the University of California's wrestling book. It'll still show an image of the double wrist lock, but it'll say like, oh, this is kind of fading out as a technique because people get injured and all that. So you'll see that a lot of the amateur wrestling, their approach to even a grappling match leaves them open to a lot of submission. So that's kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier, that meme I put out where it's like, um, you can have a world class freestyle wrestler and get submitted by a kid, and it's true actually. That happened on Flow Grappling. It was a few years ago now. What is it, like Tony Ramos? He got leg locked by um, Nicky Ryan or whatever. So a young guy, taking out or leg locking one of the U.S.'s best wrestlers. So, and very fast. It was like less than a minute or something. So, and you see that happen over and over. All that stuff's on Flow Grappling. They get like then they want to make sure it's not just some random person. They try to get the best people competing, and they all the major events that they've had, like it ends up with Bo Nickel even getting triangle choked by Gordon Ryan. So um it's just you see this disconnect that kind of does a disservice, um so that like they're just not cognizant at all, and they're approaching the match in a way that leaves them open to a lot of these submission holds. A catch wrestling quintet match would be epic. Yes, it would. Yes, it would. I think it'd be good in a way to. I think one way that would get some jujitsu people involved would be if you make it submission only. Um, yeah, it'd be great to have the pins, but I think people don't quite in mainstream grappling. They don't quite understand it. I believe it was just recently uh, John Danaher, the big wrestling or the big jiu-jitsu guru coach. He had a post about the value of pinning and stuff, but I think it's ultimately going to fall on deaf ears since a lot of people who do jiu-jitsu might have never done any kind of wrestling style, and so they're not going to understand how to integrate what he's saying into their training. So that's the sad part, right? So, but then you'll have like how I showed the comments from the wrestling chat room where it's like now they're kind of complaining amongst themselves, but a lot of times, or at least what I found, or at least the impression I got is like they're both thinking like this is like the pinnacle of wrestling, but in my opinion, it's not. It's not, and it's unfortunate that a lot of people don't know that history, and like catch wrestling would provide a better foundation, and give like collegiate wrestlers something to do if they graduate, and if they don't get selected for the national team or whatever. Flame Zombie. I think one thing non-submission wrestlers have great is the energy they bring. They have a lot of fight. They're ready to learn, even if they probably know more than me as some self-taught guy. Um, oh, that well, yeah, it's good. Let's go and put that up there so everyone can see the text there. Um, yes, that definitely could be there, and so you gotta keep on submitting them to make sure they listen to you. Or some of them will have. I've come across that where it's like you kind of have to beat them with whatever technique, but like in order for them to want to learn it. But that's not the kind of student you want. Like they can you can let that student go, because yeah, you definitely want the people who have a lot of energy but ready to learn. Right. So like you said, it's like they have a lot of fight. They're ready to learn, even if they probably know more than me as some self-taught guy. You know, even me when I go to different jujitsu schools and stuff, because say if I have to travel or whatever, then I like so even it doesn't matter like where I go, but you know, it's a lot of times it's easy to find a jujitsu school as opposed to like a wrestling school. So I'll go and I'll do a drop in class, and you'll have some great instructors where it's um, they might not know some wrestling stuff, but they have a lot of they still bring a lot of value, and they still make it a great class and a great time. Flame Zombie. Yeah, I love the guy that I have to work tooth and nail to submit. I barely get a tap, and then they go, "Whoa, what was that?" Yeah, it's always a great feeling where, um, even like, well, since I spend a lot more time rolling with jujitsu people, um, when they say the same thing, they no matter what belt they are, and they're like, "Oh, whoa, I never think of attacking or being attacked in a certain way." But then, yeah, you'd still see how, like I was mentioning, where say I've done some seminars uh, like two people who do amateur wrestling, and then they're interested in it, but they're like if they're focused on going to the Olympics or becoming any part of a national wrestling team, then um, they won't necessarily pursue catch wrestling any further. So, um, but I'll also find it in a lot of jujitsu scenarios where it's like, yeah, you could totally dominate a lot of people, and then they'll still be thinking like, oh well, I got to learn more jujitsu, or whatever, instead of wanting to learn catch wrestling or whatever. So it's weird. Taquero man, how do you prevent knee injuries in your grappling? You're doing all these other things that you even asked about earlier, where it's like, yeah, you can do the cardio, you can do the strength and conditioning, the stretching, like the flexibility training is super important so that you're not so tight, your body's not so tight, and it can move and in these different positions where sometimes you get put in when you're grappling. So in your body's okay with these positions, and it's strong, the joints are strong, and you're flexible enough to withstand a lot of the pressure that gets put on them. So that's really how you prevent injury, like strengthening, stretching, doing the cardio and stuff. All that stuff really helps. Taquero man, any upcoming catch wrestling competitions? um Yeah, we're gonna have some more here in Los Angeles. Um, Probably the end of September, I think now. Um, so we'll probably be looking for like more local people, because they're already around and they're already training. But yeah, it's open to anybody else who might want to come. So we're just going to solidify the date, or set the date, and then we'll notify, or at least we'll post about it, and definitely all the matches will be recorded and like released like right away. So um So yeah, we're not gonna trickle it out. Well, it won't. We probably won't do a live stream just because that's kind of difficult. So you'll at least record it and put them out like right, probably same day or a little bit after. Flame zombie. I always tap a little bit early on leg locks. Deep lunges and single leg squats are great. Yep. So the main exercise for your legs would be any kind of squat lunge type exercise that really helps, or it's kind of like the main way of exercising your legs. But yeah, so see if you can find a routine that works for you. So yeah, you can change up. Like if you're bored of doing squats, then you can do lunges one day or whatever. So just as long as you're doing those types of movements, like those kind of compound joint. So you'll have like multiple joints working. So you got the knee joints working, you got the hip joints working, stuff. So they're all, you get them all working together, and that strengthens them, and that really helps to prevent injuries. And also, yeah, the whole thing that Flame Zombie brought up about maybe tapping early. You don't have to fight too hard, right? So tapping early with lay locks, and if you feel like they definitely got it sunk in, then you can tap without them, before they can crank on it. But also try to roll with people who are also careful or considerate and not trying to crank on anything. Taquero man, how did your class go at UCLA? Will you continue to do it? Yeah, actually, it's going well, and so we're going to have more classes. And I mentioned it at the beginning where we're going to even have Chinese wrestling classes now. So they want to see if, because I think they told me a few years ago, I think that someone taught it there, but they've since moved on, and so they would like me to teach that. So I've also competed in that. I trained in this style when I was in China at the Beijing Sports University. So when I was a wee lad, and so and I've actually trained others in that style. So a long time ago, I wanted my catch wrestling students to try doing something else, and that there's still competition in. So I gave them a little crash course in Chinese wrestling. So you wear like this little vest that it has like short sleeves. So it's not exactly like a gi, like a judo gi or a jiu-jitsu gi. And so it's all about takedowns. So, but just, and actually, it's more similar to catch wrestling takedowns than modern freestyle and folk style takedowns, because it's about not doing like a lot of the knee over toe stuff. So like that blast double stuff that you'll see, or a lot of the takedowns that you'll commonly see in freestyle and folk style, you don't do it because you want to throw the person, see if you can get them up in the air and like, or do some cool like off balancing maneuvers, where you take them down by kind of using their momentum to get them off balance and make them fall down. But the whole idea is that you make them go down and you stay standing. So yeah, I gave a little crash course to a bunch of my catch wrestling students, and yeah, everyone medaled. One guy, of course, got gold, and then I think the other two got silver. And yeah, no, it's fun. So I think it's cool. It's cool you can cross train. And so yeah, UCLA is interested in that right now. So hopefully that goes well too. Flame zombie. That's awesome. It's like a Sambo Kurtka. Um, I guess. It's a short sleeve. Uh, I have one in my closet, but that's like, it's not here right now. So, but yeah, I guess maybe we'll show later. Is the Chinese wrestling outfit similar to the Mongolian outfit? It's still a full vest. The Mongolians will just have like the sleeves, and they're connected around the person's back. Um, but yeah, the Chinese one will have the full vest that goes down. Just covers the front of your body. Usually, you don't wear a shirt underneath, and then you have a belt that keeps it on you. But you can grab anywhere where it's like you can grab the legs, you can grab their belt, and try to pull them towards you. You can grab any part of the vest, or of course the wrist and head and stuff. So it's similar to just like a takedown competition, but you happen to have a vest, so you have more things to kind of grab onto. But you don't want to do any like sacrifice throws. You don't want to touch the ground first. So in a way, it's what's similar to what sumo wrestling, where it's like you can't, no other part of your body can touch the ground besides the bottoms of your feet. Otherwise, you lose, or you don't. The way they'll do it is not like a quick loss. They'll actually do a timed round where whoever gets the most takedowns in that time period will be the winner. And let me see, next one. Flame zombie. Lots of medieval European wrestling look like that. To first throw, or it's called, yeah, the throw, yeah, or a fall now, right? It's kind of like a synonymous for pins and stuff. Hugo D. Let's see. I gotta ask, what were your thoughts on Curran Jacobs getting so easily submitted by a purple belt for being such a big figure in catch wrestling? He got smashed so easily. I think I was a black belt in 10th Planet. So I know who that guy is. I haven't trained with him, but I've trained at 10th Planet for like years and years now. So yeah, he was a black belt. But yeah, just like Curran, he won our events, our big gotch tournaments and stuff. And so, but yeah, it's like he did train with us a little bit, but then yeah, he moved back to Michigan, and I guess just focused on the like the amateur wrestling, I guess. So it was yeah, just it was pretty sad because yeah, we definitely had a lot to teach him, but yeah, he just kind of didn't didn't keep contact with us. So yeah, so I guess it is what it is. So I wasn't his coach or anything, and neither was John Strickland. So I guess that's it. Yeah, it's like yeah. So yeah, because like I think you even see in our social media posts where sometimes I'll show stuff like from our class, and like you'll see people doing leg locks and or knee bars and all that. So yeah, I definitely teach it. Hugo D, thanks for the answer, by the way. All right, you're welcome. Yeah. So that yeah, maybe Hugo brought up another example where you can totally maybe be focused on one type of thing, and it can lead you open to different types of submissions and stuff. So yeah, you gotta be more well rounded. Yeah, because I think what that time yeah, he was being trained by other people. So yeah, nothing to do with John Strickland or myself. All right, Taquero Man, definitely. We'll try to sign up for the CWA online soon. All right, well, thank you. Hugo D. Barnett versus Lister, in my opinion, was a good showing for catch with the cradle in full effect. Yeah, um, getting that pressure down on the person. It's great. You can see. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I think hopefully. Like I think the matches, like the video matches, or the video has been released by Wigan. Especially even this past event showed a cool variety of techniques. Um, get people getting pinned by cradles and all kinds of different submissions and stuff. Um, so hopefully in our upcoming matches, we'll still get some really cool variety of techniques, right? So I'm sure a lot of people are going to go for submissions and stuff, but pins are great too. And so I think we'll see. I won't say who's going to be competing, but some people who are accomplished So it won't all be beginners or anything like that. People who are accomplished already and been doing grappling and competition for a while. Hugo, I started with backyard grappling and now in BJJ I use a ton of pins and chicken wings BJJ to submit in BJJ classes, and people are always surprised by the sneakiness. Yeah, no, it's so cool. I mean, and all these things are really effective. They're not um, they're not like utilized in a lot of, and like how I said, even recently, John Danaher, he's talking about the usefulness of pins, but I think it'll probably fall on deaf ears because it's not like part of the mainstream like practice of teaching jujitsu. So you're gonna so you're still going to be surprising people for a long time, where it's like you can use the control, you can use a lot of these pins, or even I said the chicken wing stuff. All that stuff's like so effective, and it will always be, really. So keep it up. Yeah, pins are awesome. People don't realize you can submit with the pin. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's like the whole compression, was it compression choke aspect? Yeah, totally. No, this is where I disagree. So Hugo D says the sad part is all of catch is going to be absorbed by no-gi jujitsu. No, definitely not. Like a lot of, maybe they will say like in 10th Planet, right? They'll create a whole system based off of wrestling moves, like what they call the twister and whatnot. But it is still not catch wrestling, right? So catch wrestling is still like its own language, its own philosophy, its whole way of doing things. So that will never be no-gi, even though like say like nowadays they're calling like ADCC like a wrestling competition and all that, but you see them using like amateur wrestling, so the ones who want to improve the wrestling, they're doing amateur wrestling stuff to try to improve their wrestling. But yeah, there's very few people who say like no, like the most authentic like catch and all that. So you get people doing all these kinds of like what submission chains and whatever. So they're not necessarily um, like knowing catch wrestling. So catch wrestling will still be its own thing. So just like sumo is going to be its own thing, and even Chinese wrestling is going to be its own thing. So there's a lot of uh, there's a lot of difference, and so they might incorporate some of our wrestling holds, right? But yeah, still not going to go away. Ooh, yeah, you guys are coming. I think I gotta pull back gotta scroll back a little bit. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, Flame Zombie. Yeah, the Von Flu choke. People try to guillotine. Yeah, that's so good. Um, yeah, let me see. Yeah, sure hope not. I agree. Catch is catch, but the rules and the aspect, yeah, the philosophy, all that stuff. Takeru, man, do you think in the merger of UFC and WWE will attract more viewers or more wrestlers? Not really, because in WWE you don't have to wrestle. You don't have to be a wrestler to be popular. Let me see. Nogi still doesn't have a lot of takedown game, and most schools still ban neck cranks. Yep, and yeah, and a lot of them who follow like IBJJF rules, they're not gonna really show you any kind of leg locks, like ever, basically. Um, Even though like yeah, they should though, because so since a lot of the leg locks are becoming more legal in brown and black belt, they should kind of start you early, like knowing them. But no, they still frown upon that. I've had a lot of experience, like I said, like if I travel and I would go to a jujitsu, I'll drop into a jujitsu no-gi class, and sometimes people complain if I use some sort of leg attack, even though it's like I try to make sure to use some of the like some of the IBJJF legal leg positions and stuff, so I'm not like reaping I'm not doing anything that is obviously against their rules. I try to be I try to be a nice person. I just want to get a workout and all that. So, but you'll get some people to still, still complaining. Okay, someday I hope to start a gym that does catch and karate because a few strikers know how much of the kata are wrestling form. Yeah, totally, totally. Straight ankle lock, and that's it really in IBJJF. Oh Lord, knee reaping. Oh LOL. I'll take any wrestling over that. I think. Yeah, seriously. All right. Cool. All right. So yeah, so just I wanted to point out ultimately with this is just like yeah, you'll have all these different um, uh, people complaining about different things about amateur wrestling, but it's like guys remember that catch wrestling is awesome and um, it's like why don't you try to learn that? So speaking of that, if you're in the Los Angeles area, come train with us at Fight Science MMA. If you're a UCLA student, when the next quarter starts, which is actually the end of September, beginning of October, we'll be there. And then if you're on the East Coast of the United States, train with my buddy John Strickland. Also, if you're not in any of those places, and you can always join the CWA Academy online. It is really cool. Put a ton of videos in there, and we have not only the main courses where like you have like fundamental techniques in our community app. It's actually an app kind of like a Discord and all that, but it's like only for members. We put a lot of extra videos on there, and as we like more of a community aspect, so you can talk amongst each other, and we try to work out different problems to different struggles people are having. So um, it's really really cool. And then also, if you don't want to do that, you can always support us through our YouTube channel. You can become a member there. We put a lot of the extra videos there for you. So um, or of course you also have one-off courses on our website. So all of it is really really great. That can whatever you do to support us is used for our upcoming events and stuff. So because there's different costs involved and all that, like renting venues and whatnot. So it's all appreciated and all it all goes to support catch wrestling. And then yeah, if you learn something from us, you've just elevated your grappling, right? And with all that, we keep real wrestling alive. All right, so thanks, and then until next time.